Well, for more on this, we're now joined by Laura Juncadella. She is a Cuban-American. She's also in Little Havana, and that's where she joins us now in Miami. Laura, thank you for joining us today. I want to begin with the celebration around you, the celebration that you're feeling. Why are people reacting this way to the death of Fidel Castro?
I mean, it's crazy. They've been here since last night, and I think it's a sense of relief for so many people who, for almost 6 years, feel that they've been oppressed and had to leave their home, and now made Miami home, and they're excited. It's for them, it's freedom. The chant you keep hearing is freedom, liberty. Cuba, yes; Castro, no. So it's a lot of excitement. I don't know if you can see behind me, but everyone's here. So
yeah, well, we've been watching it for hours now. Tell us about the loss that Cubanos and Cubanas still feel in Miami. Cuba was so many decades ago for so many people. Why is that pain still so strong?
I mean, it's the pain of leaving home. I mean, I was born in this country. My parents were both born in Cuba, but you grow up hearing the stories of Cuba and hearing, the myth of the island, and you inherit that, and you feel it very much. It's very much alive here. People here drink Cuban coffee. They speak Spanish to each other. You eat Cuban food, and it's never being able to go back, and it's the feeling of regaining your homelands in some small way.
And to my understanding, also shared stories of struggle of having to leave Cuba, having to escape Cuba.
Yes. I mean, I know when my grandfather found out, I have one surviving grandfather, he became very emotional. He just started remembering the journey he had to take to leave the island. He was a lawyer, the clients he represented, everything. He had to get his 6 kids out. It was just flashbacks for him. And he was just so happy to be alive, to outlive the man who made him lose his homeland.
And you don't have to tell us the full story, but what type of hardships did he undergo to escape Cuba?
Well, it's a really long story, but essentially it was hard for them to leave because he was of the job he had. To get out of the island became really complicated. He had 6 children. They all needed to get visas. And, I know my father, for example, came over first by himself, and then, all of the children came out one by one. On my mom's side, they went through similar struggles to have to leave the island and trying to get everyone out and into safety.
I wonder, do you still have relatives in Cuba that you're in contact with?
No, unfortunately, I do not. My whole family left except for one aunt, and she passed away a few years ago.
And yet you've still found it very important to be in front of the Versailles restaurant, a restaurant that seems to be the heart of these celebrations in Little Havana. Why the need to actually stand out there, not just to even mark this occasion, but to stand out there for hours?
Well, I feel like it's witnessing history. If you're going to go anywhere when Castro dies, it has to be Versailles. This is the capital of the Cuban community outside of Cuba, and I was lucky enough last night when we heard the news. I was out with some friends at a bar down the street, and we bolted over. We were amongst the first 30 people here, and I don't think anyone's left since then. I went home, but it's been crowded. And it's because it's where people gather, where people share their stories. Everyone here has been chanting and marching, and you hear them with the pots and pans and the drums, and they're super excited to be here and super happy.
Do you think things are going to change in Cuba now that Fidel Castro has died?
I don't know. I wish they would change, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Raul is still in power, and everyone here is still chanting, Fidel's gone, Raul, you're next. So we'll see what happens.